What's up guys, Justice here, back with another video on this beautiful sunny Tuesday in Florida. I got another Q&A that I posted on Sunday. Make sure you check out my Instagram if you want your questions answered. Every Sunday I try to post an opportunity for you guys to ask me some questions. This time it was on the squat. I'm gonna get into every question that was asked. I was planning to do just one question a week, but I'm realizing by the number of questions that I'm getting that it would take months for some people to get their answer, and I don't want to make you guys wait that long. So I'm going to address each one, and then maybe if some need a little more attention, I'll give them their own video later as well. So the first question is by my man Adam once again. How do you prevent knee pain / knee stress in a squat? How do you really activate the primary muscles? Now, I'm not a therapist or a doctor, so I don't have the exact answer. There's a lot of things I think that can cause knee pain, but usually knee pain is most likely caused by too much stress on the interior part of the leg. So a lot of tension in that quad usually is probably going to cause some issues with the knee, and then also quads that aren't developed quite right. If the vastus medialis isn't developed enough, it'll mess up where the patella is and mess up how things track. So all of those things can play a role. I would say if you have some knee pain, pay attention to how far forward your knees are going in the squat. Pay attention to where you're putting most of the weight on your foot. If people tend to be too much on their toes and not enough on their heels, then that can cause some extra shearing force on the knee. And also pay attention to how you engage and begin the squat. Are you using your hips right? Are you using your glutes and your hamstrings the way that you should? Are your knees tracking properly? Is there a lot of wobbling going on? Are they staying over your toes? Just basically having good form, which of course you would probably guess is going to keep a lot of that knee pain from ever happening. The next question is by Devin, and that question is, well, not really a question, but what he needs help with is bracing. I need to know how to properly brace while standing up. This is a really good one. Now, I already have a video or two that talks about bracing. Basically, the idea of bracing, even while standing or not, is pretty much you're taking in air deep into your belly, your stomach, your obliques, even deep into your groin, you should be thinking. And then you are closing off your epiglottis, or basically you're keeping air from releasing, and then you're flexing your abdominals and your obliques against it and pushing that air out. You're trying to increase the pressure that's in your abdomen so that things are more stable. You have less force leaving and less chance of getting injured. So that's pretty much the basics of bracing. Now, to improve your ability to brace, I can make another video that has some exercises that you can do that I've done that's benefited me. But to brace while standing, the simple answer is to just go through those steps. Take in air in your mouth, but take it not into your chest, into your stomach, into your obliques, into your groin. Push out against a flexed abdominal wall and don't let any of that air escape. And if you do, let it out very slowly and very slight amounts of air out at the same time. If you can really hunker down and flex your abdominals and your oblique and keep that air in, you should be bracing properly. You should be keeping yourself set to be safe and lift more weight. The next question is by Teddy. It's very simple: belt versus no belt. Another good question. So my stance on belts is pretty simple. I think, you know, there's no problem with them. I recently started using them in my training over the past few months, and I think they're great. I still can't use them on deadlifts. They interfere with my form for some reason. But with squats, I love to use it. But I don't think you should rely on it so much that you can't do anything without it. And I think that's with any piece of equipment for the most part. So I'm not against using a belt. I'm not against not using a belt. Just if you use the belt, be able to do squats without them. I'm not saying you have to be able to do as much weight. The belt helps you probably lift a little bit more, or at least feel more comfortable with that, helping you brace better. But you should know how to brace without it. You should at least be able to get close to your working weight without it. I like to warm up with at least a few sets before I throw on the belt and get to the heavier weight. So that's just how I like to do things. But I think the belt is good. As long as you have a good belt, you're not relying on it, and you don't think it's magically going to fix your form or keep you from getting injured, because you still can get hurt with a belt, and you can still brace improperly and lift improperly with a belt. Next question I got is, any clue as to how I can stop busting blood vessels in my eyes while squatting? This is from Colton Gray. Thanks for the question. So if you're popping blood vessels while you're squatting, it's my thought that you're storing too much pressure in your face and in your head. So when you're bracing properly, you should be bringing the pressure into your stomach, like I talked about just a moment ago, and building pressure there, not in your face. So just be cognizant of how you're bracing. Are you bringing air into your cheeks? Are you making a puffer face when you're bracing? Are you really tensing up your head? Are you pushing out in your head? That's not what you should be trying to do. You should be able to put an immense amount of pressure into your stomach and keep the pressure from coming up into your head. So while your total body's blood pressure will increase everywhere when bracing and when squatting and stuff like that, you should be able to keep it from affecting your eyes like that. I've never popped a blood vessel by squatting or anything, and I brace pretty hard. So just really, if that's you, if you're popping blood vessels from lifting, really focus on breathing into your stomach, really deep into your stomach, into your obliques and your groin, and then hunkering down there without stressing your face, crunching your face, and building up pressure in your face and your head. So if you're getting headaches or your blood vessels are popping, that just means you're probably bracing a little too much up here. Maybe some chest breathing is going on, and you're building pressure in your face when it should be just in your stomach. Okay, the next question is from Coach Lucas. He put mobility, how do you mobilize? In other words, what he's asking is, what mobility work do I do for squats? So in terms of mobility, I don't do anything outside of the gym anymore. I used to do some stuff. I used to even do mobility WOD. I used to do things in the gym that probably weren't helping. I've realized that mobility is a little different than we probably think. A lot of people are going about it wrong, and that's why a lot of people are doing things for mobility that they have to do each and every week, or else they can't get into positions. Mobility should be done in a way, in my opinion, that it is lasting. The effects are lasting, so you don't have to do the same thing every single week to get into the same positions. So I have a pretty simple warm-up. I'll throw a card up for the warm-up that I do, or what's really close to the warm-up that I still do. And besides that warm-up, I really don't do anything special for mobility. I'll do some warm-up sets, but I find that I'm pretty much able to get into position I need to after doing just some general warm-up stuff and not really focusing on mobilizing any particular point. All right, we're at the final question for the day, and it is by Robbie. The question is, how important are weightlifting shoes for squats and deadlifts, and what are the options to look for during purchase? Thank you for your question. How important squat shoes are depends on the individual. For me, squat shoes are absolutely necessary. I have an impingement in the front of my left foot, my left ankle, so I can only dorsiflex or get my my shin to go towards my toes a certain amount before bone hits bone, and there's just nowhere for it to go. So for me to get into my proper positions based on how my hip is structured, I have a closer squat stance because of how my hips are structured. So I need the squat shoes to squat properly. I can do a body weight squat without them with flat shoes, but when it comes to having a bar on my back, it just really helps me get into the position. A lot of people probably don't need squat shoes. If your ankle range of motion is good, if your dorsiflexion is good, then you don't need them. They'll make it easier to get into a deeper squat, a better position, but like I said, a lot of people don't need them, so they're not crucial. I think more than anything, for a lot of people, they use it because other strong people use it to squat. It is very stable, it's a very solid shoe, so for that reason I can understand it. But honestly, if I could squat with flat shoes, I would. I just think it's like cooler to be able to squat in flat shoes. I don't know, that's just me. I never use squat shoes for deadlifts though. Some people do. I guess you could sort of use it like a deficit deadlift, but I wouldn't recommend to anybody to use squat shoes while deadlifting. I would just either take off the shoes or use flat shoes. You want to be as close to the floor as possible in order to get into the best position as possible when deadlifting. In terms of options, you have a few. The Nike Romelio 2s, that's what I have. They just came out with the 3s. These are great shoes, especially if you have a normal foot or a slightly wider foot. I think these fit better than the Adidas ones that are similar, and I can't remember the name, so I'll post a picture up of what I'm talking about. But Adidas makes one that's similar, and I think they came out with a new one of those too, but they tend to fit more narrow from what I've heard. Your last option is another Adidas that is, the sole is a lot softer than the previous two, but it's also a lot less expensive. So if you're not that serious about lifting, or you're trying to get into using squat shoes and you're not really sure, that would be a great idea. The heel on those are also a little bit less. So if you don't have any ankle issues, but you do want the benefit of having a raised heel, that might be a great place to start. There's some other options here and there that are also good, but those are the ones that you'll see most and the ones that I can vouch for, as I've seen people in my gym wear them that are incredibly strong, and then I have the Nikes, so I love them. They work well. and I think they're gonna last me a really long time. So that's it, that's all the questions. Thank you guys so much for the questions that you asked. I hope that I answered them in a way that helps. If any of these topics you guys wanna hear more about, you wanna know more about, let me know. I'll drop a video on it in the future. So comment below if you have any questions that come off of the questions that I've answered, or if you want a more detailed answer, please let me know and I'll go more in depth. Thank you so much for dropping the questions. If you want your questions answered, make sure to follow me on Instagram and be on the lookout on Sunday. Usually around midday, I'll post some sort of topic to ask questions on. So I really appreciate the questions that I got. Once again, I can't say that enough. Really enjoy helping people out. So once again, follow me on Instagram to get your questions answered. That's it. Subscribe for more because there's always more. Give the video a like if you got anything from it at all. And I'll see you guys in the next video.